guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we've got a bit of a hodgepodge. I've got all kinds of random things today. Have some PR products that I'm very excited to try out with you guys. I stopped by a Five Below recently. We just got a new Five Below and I picked up a handful of things. Some hits, some misses, but all very affordable. So we're gonna try those out together as well. I also picked up something from TJ Maxx that I could not believe I found this at TJ Maxx for $6.99. We will get to that as well. And I also have a side-by-side of a brown versus a black mascara. Did you notice the difference in my eyes, or are you now that I'm mentioning it? Well, we'll get to that today. But before we do, if you are a new visitor here, I wanna wish you a very special welcome. Please make sure you are subscribed to my channel and that your notifications are turned on. With that said, let's get right into it. We're gonna kick things off with a bit of primer. So I'm actually gonna use two primers today because I need a little bit of glow, but my skin is really dry. I need hydration as well. I'm gonna take my Pretty Smart Radiant Face Primer. This primer, I've had this for a while now. I think this is one of the first things that I tried out from this brand. It's not my favorite hydrating primer, but it's pretty good. I'm trying to think of what kind of formulation this reminds me of. Maybe something along the lines of the Smashbox Primerizer. Is that still what it's called? Not quite as nice as that one though. I actually really like the Smashbox Primerizer. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. This one is in the shade 2. Just right on the cheekbones. This is gonna give me a little bit of glow to peek out from underneath my foundation. Also a little extra coverage as well. Such a pretty product. Okay, so today for foundation, I want to use the foundation that I talked about in my favorites video. This is not a new foundation to me by any means. It's the Airbrush Flawless Foundation from Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm going to take about a half a pump of this foundation. It is a little bit light for me right now, so I'm going to add just the tiniest dot of my Wet n Wild Dewy Foundation. This one is in the shade Caramel, which is way too dark, but this is my go-to. When I have a foundation that is too light, I will add different degrees of this to it just to kind of deepen it up a bit. Now the Charlotte Tilbury foundation is the thickest foundation that I own. It is very heavy, very full coverage, but I don't want to say it looks like natural on the skin because this is going to cover anything. It's like, it's insane. I mean, the coverage of this is insane, but for how heavy the coverage is, I don't feel like it looks as cakey on my face as I would think that it would. That said, it's not a lightweight foundation by any means. So don't go into this thinking this is gonna make you look like naturally flawless. It will make you flawless. This is the type of foundation that I always am maybe recommending foundations to people. Like this is a foundation for pictures or for a special occasion like a prom or a wedding day. If you don't mind the very close up kind of heavier coverage, but you want it to look great in pictures. Of course, if you don't have a lot to cover, I would probably stay away from this foundation. Just let your beautiful skin peek through. But for those of us that do have a lot of things that we would like to conceal, this is almost like a concealer. I still think the shade-wise, I think I'm a little bit light. My arms are quite a bit tanner than my face and neck, but still I think I'm gonna need just quite a bit of bronzer today. But look at that coverage, guys. I mean, you can't see any of my hyperpigmentation marks. I really could skip concealer today, but we're not going to. We've got to try this one out. This is the Rimmel Multitasker Concealer. I picked this up at Five Below. We just got a new Five Below in my town, and I had never been into one of these stores before. I always assumed it was just kind of like a dollar store, and it is. When I went inside the store, which by the way had only been open for about 2 weeks, it was a disaster. I was shocked to see how messy and chaotic it was in there. Maybe they're not all like that. Maybe I just caught them on a bad day where they were like doing stock or something, but it was a little bit shocking. Anyway, so I picked up 2 shades of this concealer because the makeup department, which is very tiny, was so picked over, which really surprised me because the store was so new. They only had a handful of shades left, so I had to pick 2. I went with the shade Fair 20 and Tan 80. So I mean, look at the shade difference in these 2 shades, you guys. We're gonna have to do some serious Bob Rossing today to try and get my shade right. I'm kind of thinking about going just with this lightest shade on my, just on the lid. Let's do that. I'm gonna tap this on my lid really quick. I'm actually gonna blend it out first. And let's blend it out with a, where did my sponge go? Here we go, trusty little Wet n Wild sponge. Yeah, that is so light. Now this, along with the other 2 things that we'll be trying out shortly, was $5. I mean, I picked up 4 things, like $5 each. That's 20 bucks that I could have bought something I really wanted at Sephora. We'll have to see. So kind of the way I've like soured on these makeup purchases, even though I haven't really tried them out yet. So after I bought these, I was killing some time while my son was at baseball practice. So I went back over to the field and kind of was just parked in the parking lot waiting for him to finish. And the bag of makeup was sitting on the floor calling my name. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna swatch these just to see, because I feel like the shades are so obviously not my shade. So I swatched these two shades on the back of my hand in what I thought was maybe a concoction that would work for me. And I didn't have much makeup on at the time, so I tapped them on my cheek. And the color was like purple. I don't know if I just got too much of the dark or the undertones a little bit off, but it looked like I had a bruise on my face basically. So now I'm very nervous. I'm gonna use the tiniest amount of the tan shade and then quite a bit more of the fair shade. I like concocting shades of concealer together to try and get something to work for me, but I think the further you get away from what you know is kind of like your shade range, the more risk you are at not getting the combination right. It's a little bit trickier to do. So basically right here we have one that is much too dark for my skin tone and much too light for my skin tone. So let's just see if we can kind of get somewhere where I think we'll be able to get away with it. So there's the mixture. See, I feel like that's a little bit too light, but this is where I feel like I went wrong. When I swatched before, I added a little too much of the darker shade and then it just looked off. I don't really need very much of this, but I do want to try it out. So I can use my finger, just have the little concoction on the back of my hand. Try to go a little lighter than what I thought the first time. Maybe it kind of oxidized or darkened a little bit once it's set down. This actually looks like I might have gotten it right. Hallelujah. Now product-wise, these have 0.33 ounces in them. They're the same size as the Tarte Shape Tape and the e.l.f. concealers, which is a good amount of product. So for $5, if these end up working well, and if you can find your shade, that might be a real steal for you. Coverage-wise, not that I had a ton to cover, I'm gonna take the tiniest dot of the lighter shade with what's left in this little swatch on the back of my hand. We're gonna use that mixture on this under eye area right here. Anyways, if you can get the shade right, the deal is, it's a great deal for a concealer. It feels pretty thick. This actually feels a bit like the Tarte Shape Tape to me. Definitely a concealer that you would want to use in moderation. I'm gonna go back to that sponge and just kind of blend around the edges. I'll probably do this a few more times because we're gonna need to add a good amount of bronzer today. All right, not so bad. I was very nervous about these. I mean, they're $5, which it's not as big of a deal if they don't work out, but I was really worried about the shades, just not finding a combination of these two shades to work, but I think we got there. Now just the tiniest touch of powder. I'm just gonna take my Rimmel Stay Matte. By the way, they did have this powder there, but they didn't have any of my shades available. I was shocked at how picked over their makeup was. It's like they opened and I don't know what happened. Just a rampage of people just ran in and just bought everything because there seriously was like nothing left. I don't know, maybe they didn't have a lot of stock to begin with. Let's move on. I feel like I'm going a very negative direction. Happy talk, Mandy. We're putting on makeup today. Let's use a really good bronzer. That will put me in a better mood. We're gonna take my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Cream Bronzer. I love this stuff. This is more of it leans in the contouring direction, I would say. So if you really like your bronzer to warm up your face, this particular shade, which is the shade Fair, is gonna do a little bit more sculpting than warming, but it still works fine for me. The formula is great. It's a little bit more of like a semi-matte cream. It's not quite as buttery and slippery where it feels almost greasy on your skin. It's much more natural feeling, I guess I should say. And the thing above all is the amount of product you get in this. There is so much in here. 21 grams of product. This thing's gonna last me forever. Looks great, nice and bronzed, but I want to add just a little bit of warmth, so I'm going to take a warmer bronzer, even a darker bronzer. This is the NYX Buttermelt Blush in the shade 3. I'm going to add just a little bit more. Let's take my Angie Hot and Flashy and take a little bit of this. This shade is a little bit dark pigmented for me, but I like the undertone of this one a tiny bit more than number 2. I like them both. I have shades 2 and 3 and I like them both, but this one I just think is a little bit, has a nicer warmth to it. The jaw here. I don't always go so heavy on the jawline, but because my foundation's a little too light today, we're just going a little bit heavier. Back to that sponge that I used and just blending around the hairline to make sure I don't have a bunch of makeup on my hair. Let's go to the highlighter, which I also got at Five Below, and I have very low expectations of this thing, but we're gonna hope for the best. This is the Afterglow. Is W7 the brand? I don't know. I think it's the W7 Afterglow highlighter. This one, I don't think it even has a shade. I think there was just one shade. It's kind of an ombre sort of product, so it's got the very pretty packaging, honestly, for $5. It doesn't feel super heavy duty, but it looks like it should have cost more than $5. So let's hope that the product inside is wearable. Let's give it a little swatch. So there's just everything swirled together, swatching. Let's kind of, okay, that's pretty. That actually maybe looks a little dark for me. What I think I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna skip over this shade at the bottom and just swirl like these top 3 shades together and try that. See if we get a good result going that direction. So I'm gonna take my Morphe M164. It's okay. It's not great. Honestly, if it was $1, I'd say not bad for a $1 highlighter. $5, I think the Wet n Wild highlighter is much better than this. I'm trying to think of other highlighters that are really cheap. Essence, for sure, makes better highlighters than this, but I mean the packaging, it's very pretty. This looks very kind of almost Charlotte Tilbury-esque. The highlighting itself is not super refined, not very impactful, a tiny bit on the chalky side. I realized I did not add a blush yet. Let's do that now. Let's go with this today. This is Guava from Persona. I'm gonna apply this with my Milk makeup brush here. Such a pretty color. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my blush brush. Just kind of like blend that highlighter. Let's move on to the brows. So I picked up the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil. I have tried this before. Initially, I think the first time I tried it, I either tried the blonde or the taupe shade, and I thought the shade was a little bit too yellowy for me. So this time I went with the shade Medium Brown. Oh dear, this is one of the things you get sometimes with cheap drugstore makeup. Is Five Below like the reject bin? Is that where, because I bought this product before, I bought a lot of things from LA Girl before, who I typically really like, but I've never had that issue happen to me with this brand before, but maybe that's why this one was at Five Below. I need to stop bashing Five Below. I'm a big dollar store fan. I still go to the dollar store for a handful of things regularly. And my kids love the dollar store, like Dollar Tree, dollar store. I don't know what I was expecting from Five Below, but I clearly am a little bit underwhelmed. Color-wise, much better than what I picked up the first time. So there's the color swatch on the back of my hand. Sometimes I'm afraid of shades that are like medium brown or ash browns because I'm worried that they're gonna be just a little bit too dark. That's not too dark. If you have more of like an ashy, mousy blonde hair or just a light brown color, you could totally use this and it not turn out too dark. Let's set those down. I'm just gonna use a clear brow gel. Let's go with my LA Colors Browy Wowie today. I'm gonna run this through both brows initially. Then I'm gonna take a better spoolie and just brush them up right until the gel starts to dry. Let's move on to the eyeshadow. So we also got a TJ Maxx in my town recently, which I'm very excited about. And I know in one of my most recent videos, I mentioned I'm gonna stop buying makeup at TJ Maxx. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Okay, so I saw the Kaja, one of their Beauty Bento trios that I don't own yet. I have a lot of these. This is the Peach Madeline version for $6.99. These are like $25 if you buy them at Sephora, and frankly, I think they're worth that much. They're really good. It hurts to spend $25 on them, but I really like the Kaja products, and I was so excited to see this there, one that I don't already own, for $6.99. That's such a great deal. Highly recommend. If you see these at a Marshall's or a TJ Maxx for $6.99, grab it. It's totally worth it. So we're gonna try this one out today. So this is what it looks like. You get 2 shimmers. This one, which is kind of like a champagne gold. Then the one in the middle is more of like a peachy kind of shell pink with a hint of peach. And then you get a mid-tone peach. on the back, which is gorgeous. I'm so excited to try this out today. So we're going to start with the matte shade. Take a large blending brush. We will take my A503 from BK Beauty. I don't imagine this looks going to be very bold or very smoky because we don't have a darker matte shade, but that's okay. We're going to go kind of natural today because we also are going to be doing something kind of fun with the mascara. And I'm actually thinking a natural eye will help us with our little mascara experiment that we're gonna be doing today. Just gonna make this a very, very quick eye look. Let's add a little bit of, I don't know what shimmer. So here we have, this one's more of like a, it's almost like a creamy formula. It reminds me of the feel of the ColourPop Super Shock shadows, or a Natasha Denona kind of creamier shimmer. Very pretty, very foiled. And then the one in the middle is more of a dry formula. It has a bit more glitter in it. So I think we'll use this one on the center of the lid and then the gold on the inner corner. Both of these I'm going to apply with my finger. This is the middle, the shimmer in the middle. And then actually for the one on the inner corner, let's use a brush for that. Take the A505 from Angie Hot and Flashy and tap this on the inner corner. I think I am going to use my finger on the other side. I just feel like this formula will apply better with a finger. Yeah, definitely. Let's add some liner. I definitely need some liner today. Go for my Wet n Wild Simma Brown now. Do kind of a thick line on the outer, just the outer corner. A little bit on the waterline. Okay, then I'm going to take a little tiny brush. I'm not going to add anything to this. I'm basically just going to kind of work this liner a little bit more, shape it a little bit more with the brush. There we go. Now for mascara. So what we're gonna do today, I have the Persona Tubing Mascara, which I also talked about in my recent favorites video. This mascara is growing on me. It is not the most water resistant mascara, but it's so gentle on the eyes. It's quick to apply. It performs really well and it removes so incredibly easy at night. It's just the easiest. It makes my nighttime washing and makeup removal routine so quick and easy. I love it. So we are going to use the brown on one side and the black on the other because I've been using the brown one and the black one off and on, and there's definitely a difference between the two shades, but it's such a subtle difference. I thought it would be fun to put them on side by side and see if visually you can tell the difference. Might make me look a little bit odd, but I don't have anything crazy or major going on today, so if there ever was a day to do two different colored mascaras, today is that day. I'm gonna curl my lashes first. All right, we're gonna go brown on the right side, black on the left. So let's start off with the brown. Okay, and then the black on the left. All right, and here we have it, you guys. The finished eyes with the different mascaras. I'm so curious. Can you guys see the difference? I'm trying to decide if on camera I can see. I do feel like I see a hint of warmth out of this one. I don't even know if I would say that. I just feel like this one you can tell is inkier, is darker. I don't know, are you guys seeing that? So let me know what you think. If you can tell a difference between the two sides, which one do you prefer? I feel like I'll always be partial to black, but sometimes it's fun just to kind of switch things up with slightly altering your mascara shade. Finishing off with the lips, I think I've saved the best for last. So Persona recently sent me their new peptide lip balm in these 4 shades. I am so excited to try these. I feel like 2025 is the year of the lip balm, or the body spray, or the tubing mascara. I feel like every company has come out with a version of something like these things. You guys know how much I love Persona. I think their products are so good. So thank you for sending these to me. I'm excited to give them a try. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the lightest shade and swatch these on the lips and just kind of give them all a try. And then we'll kind of like land on one at the end. I might even add a little bit of lip liner underneath. We'll see how things go. Right now, I will insert a close-up of these for you guys right here, along with the price. There are 0.41 fluid ounces in each of these, just kind of as a reference. The Milk Makeup Balmates have 0.4 ounces. The Summer Fridays, I think, have 0.5 ounces. So let's start off with the shade Bubble, and then we'll try Nude, and then Kiss, and then Pomegranate. Just give this a quick swatch on the back of my hand for you guys. There it is on the back of my hand. Just a nice, very light shade, sheer pink. a little thicker than the Balmates from Milk Makeup, but they're not sticky, they're just a little bit thicker. So there is the shade we're working with, just a nice sheer, very sheer pink. I mean, this gives you just the tiniest bit of color. If you like more of a clear gloss, this is probably the shade I would go with. As far as, there's no taste to these, so no sugar in them. You guys know I love a little bit of sugar in my lip balm, but not everybody puts sugar in their lip balm, and I know not everybody likes their lip balm to taste like cake batter. So let's go with the shade Nude next. Here it is right here on the back of my hand. So this has quite a bit more color in it. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, I have high hopes for that color. That looks beautiful. More like a brown tint to it, undertone to it than like a cool pink. Here's the shade Nude, very pretty. Same formula, a nice kind of thicker balm. Let's go with the shade Kiss next. Now, if you know anything about me and my obsession with the Summer Fridays Cherry or the Cherry ColourPop Fresh Kiss Lip Balm, I'm obsessed with both of those. I love the color that they give to your lips, so I have very high hopes for this one. So here's a swatch on the back of my hand. In fact, I think I have both my Summer Fridays and my ColourPop here. Let's grab my Summer Fridays and just swatch this next to it just to compare. Let me put it on my lips first. There it is on the back of my hand. These are definitely unscented, so they don't have any weird smell to them. You literally can't smell anything from these. So if you don't like scent in your lip products, look how pretty that color is though. Love that. Quickly, I'm gonna just swatch a tiny bit of my Summer Fridays on the back of my hand, just so you can kind of see how similar these are. I do think the Summer Fridays, and I will say the ColourPop one, which is pretty much identical in shade to the Summer Fridays, they have a little bit more of a blue, kind of like reddish blue, I don't know, like a blue pink undertone to them, whereas this is more of like a berry. Slightly different, but still very, very pretty on the lips. Last is the shade Pomegranate. Let's give this one a try. See how this swatches on the back of my hand. Ooh. Okay, this reminds me of, you guys know the Clinique, is it like the Black Honey? That thing's been around forever, since I was in high school ages ago. So there it is, pretty, pretty color. See how it looks on my skin tone. There it is on me. Very pretty. This one, I'm gonna be honest, is probably not one I'm gonna use very often because just a little bit too dark for my skin tone for a balm on me. Maybe with a little bit of a lip liner underneath. It's a very pretty color. It's just a little bit darker than I like from a balm for me, but that is it for the Persona lip balms. I'm gonna wipe this one off and then we're gonna go back to, did I say Nude? The shade is June. I don't know why. I saw the NE and the U and just assumed it said Nude. It's the shade June. Sorry about that. That was the second one that I tried. We're gonna go back to this one. I'm gonna throw on the tiniest bit of my About Face lip liner in the shade Cradled, which is kind of like a brown toned nude. Just under the center. Gonna rub that in and then let's go back to June, not Nude. In my defense, I don't have my glasses on right now and my eyes are terrible. So, okay, there we have it. Very pretty. I'm gonna pull my hair down before my curls get dented because I just washed my hair this morning. One final analysis of everything. So as far as what I tried, love the Kaja Trio. I'm very excited about this. I'll be honest, I feel like I could use a little bit of depth in my outer corner. You guys know, I am like a one-trick pony when it comes to the type of eye looks I do. I always do the same thing. Even if I'm changing up the colors, I like something smoky on the outer corner of my eye. Maybe I should change that up. Maybe I should go a little bit more nude on the eyes. Let me know if you guys think this looks a little bit better on me or not. Let me just live in my happy delusion. As for the other things that I tried, I'm a little more optimistic about the concealer. I still don't know that it's worth mixing the two shades together because it's a little difficult. I don't know that I'm gonna get that right every single time. So my guess is this is probably a concealer, even though I like the formula. It's really very high coverage. I would say this is maybe one of the highest coverage concealers that I currently own. But if I was to make this a regular, I probably need to find my correct shade, or at least something a little closer to my correct shade. But if you're on a budget, if you see your shade in Five Below or wherever else you can find this Rimmel concealer, it's pretty good if you like higher coverage. The brow pencil was okay. It's a little bit defective, this one in particular. I liked the formula of it and the color. As beautiful as the packaging is, I think this might be I don't know. I would probably just skip that one. It's really not the best, not worth the $5. And that's pretty much it. I shared my thoughts on the lip balm so far. I'll keep playing with these and let you guys know if my thoughts change, or I'll let you know how they wear. This is one thing I found with lip balms. Most of the ones I've tried recently don't give me trouble, but occasionally I'll come across a lip balm that I almost feel like the more I use it, the more it dries out my lips later on. If anything like that happens, I will keep you guys posted, but so far so good. I'm very excited about this shade in particular. I think it's beautiful. But that is all I have for you guys today. Stay tuned. I've got a couple of Ulta orders coming in soon. We'll see. Soon. Sometimes Ulta shipping is like all over the place. I'll get stuff in 2 days or I'll get stuff in like 3 weeks. So we'll see when I get my orders in. That's gonna be coming up soon though. So if you are not yet subscribed, I hope that you will do that before you leave. Thank you guys again for joining me today. Hope you're doing well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.